All right, we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. It's crazy how fast things can change in the crypto space, in terms of technological adoption, the space of adoption of this space, and also how quickly, the crypto markets themselves can move. We saw crypto take a huge plunge this past year, and we're already starting to see a big recovery. And we're also seeing a ton of leaps forward with the actual technology itself, and there's no mistake that these two things are, happening about the same time. So I'm talking about in this video, particularly on the Ethereum ecosystem, because things are changing, okay? We just got a ton of new announcements that came out this morning, in addition to a bunch of other crazy stuff that came out over the past week that's really good for the entire Ethereum space. And that's what I'm talking about in this video today, as a blockchain developer who works with the Ethereum protocol on a daily basis. Okay, so if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory. On this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. We do these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel. Just turn on notifications down below, subscribe. You'll find out about those whenever we go live. You can also follow me on Twitter. I usually post a link there for that update. We're going to answer some of your questions. Take a quick look at the crypto markets. Things are pretty green on the charts today, and a whole lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory. On this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then definitely head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. And, one last quick announcement is if, let's just see here. Today is the last day to join the Blockchain Bootcamp 2.0 launch event. So if you've been watching this channel for a while, or you've been thinking about signing up, today is the last day. So you can sign up with the link down below to hold your spot. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat. We got Above Realty, Gus. Let's see, Ugandan Crypto Guru. Let me just check my stream here. So we got less people jumping on right now than normal. I just want to make sure my settings are okay. No, I think we're good. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think it's starting to show up now on YouTube. All right, we got Above Realty. Let's see here, Gus, Ugandan Crypto Guru, Douglas, Andy Man's Fitness Track. Welcome, FMJ, Automatic Beats. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's talk about what's going on with Ethereum right now, because things are rapidly changing in the Ethereum space, and of course also for the Ethereum price. And it's no coincidence that both these things are happening at the same time, in my opinion. So of course we have, Ethereum is back above $1,600 per coin. Okay, a few months ago, nobody would have been too excited to see $1,600 per Ether. In fact, that probably would have caused a lot of people to absolutely lose their minds to see that price. But hey, that's just how the crypto space works. Recency bias is a pretty crazy thing, right? The fact that we were just down at $800, but now we're back up to $1,600. That's a 2x increase off the lows, is significant. Okay, and I don't think it's just an accident. We're also seeing things like also seeing Bitcoin back above $24,000 as well. So the entire space is definitely green. We'll talk about the Ethereum space itself, because we're seeing a ton of big changes here and some new stuff that I haven't talked about yet on my live streams, but I want to set the stage in case you're just kind of catching back up in this space. So we do have the Ethereum 2.0 merge that has a date actually on the calendar of September 19th, okay, which is a huge deal. And so I don't think it's an accident that, the merge definitely has a lot to do with, I think, what we're seeing in the ETH price right now, because there's lots of people who want to accumulate Ether ahead of the merge for the long term, okay, at these discounted prices. There's also people who want to treat the merge like a trade, so they can just buy Ether before the merge and maybe sell it, buy the rumor, sell the news type situation, when the event happens, to actually cash out and then try to, make some gains off ETH and just a short-term trade. So, the merge is definitely probably the most significant factor, but that's not the only thing I want to talk about in this video today. We have a bunch of other new developments that have come out in this space that it's really going to supercharge the Ethereum ecosystem, particularly in terms of development, because at the end of the day, that's what I want to help you do on this channel is, give you real-world blockchain skills so that you can take advantage of the opportunity in the industry that way. But also because, and like where developers are, like that's what creates the technology, that's what creates the utility in this space, and that's what ultimately drives this entire thing, in my opinion. It's highly correlated to adoption of actual blockchain technology, and you need developers to create that technology. And we need Ethereum to scale in order to achieve that vision. So we have a ton of new developments on the Ethereum scaling front, okay, a bunch of new Ethereum layer 2s have just announced some huge upgrades. So what is that? Just to set the stage. So, people are wondering, I get this question all the time, like, on the Ethereum 2.0 merge that's going to happen later this year, is that going to fix ETH's gas fee problems? Is it going to stop costing so much? Is it going to get faster? Because that's one of the most common complaints about Ethereum. It's too slow, it's too expensive to use, and for that reason, it's never going to be a widely adopted blockchain. Well, the bad news is, the ETH 2.0 merge that's coming up is not going to fix ETH's gas fee problems. It's not going to fix the speed. But that's what layer 2 scaling solutions are for. Okay, this is where you create a second, environment, and you do all these transactions, and then you settle those transactions back on the main Ethereum chain itself. Okay, and so we've seen lots of different layer 2 scaling solutions out there. Let me just show these on my screen here. Let's try that. Things like Arbitrum, Optimism have really gained a lot of adoption. You can see an entire list here. Okay, but these are a particular type of scaling solution called optimistic rollups. But the scaling solution I'm most excited about beyond this, which I'm still excited about these, are ZK rollups. Okay, and we just saw a bunch of ZK rollup technology make announcements that's hitting the scene. Like we saw a flood of announcements that just came out today. All right, why this is such a big deal. So I want to go through this right now because this is going to have a huge impact on the entire Ethereum space to actually make this technology ready for prime time so that it can be, this decentralized world computer that's ready to onboard like the entire world. Okay, this is the next major step. The ETH transition to proof of stake, which is going to happen later this year. We have a calendar date set for that. Of course, you get pushed back, but like the fact that we even have a deadline, an advertised deadline is a huge deal, plus the ability to scale. So let's talk about those. So I'll go through these one by one here. So the first one is ZK Sync. All right, this is a layer 2 scaling solution that's powered by zero-knowledge cryptography. And we've been talking about ZK Sync for a long time on this channel, but they've just announced that the ZK Sync 2.0, the first ZK EVM rollup, is going to be live on mainnet in just 100 days. All right, so if you're doing the math, that's going to be around the same time as the Ethereum merge. Okay, so that's really close to that time frame. Okay, I believe just the rough math off my head that that the ZK rollup that the merge will happen slightly before. Let's just check my math here. See, 100 days from now is Friday, October 28th. So yeah, it's going to be just after the ETH 2.0 merge event. All right, so we'll come back to that in a second. But anyway, ZK Sync has been talking about this for a long time. We have an official announcement that the public ZK rollup is going to go live on 100 days from now. So it's the end of October, around Halloween. So it looks like. So another one, all right, no accident here, is Polygon. All right, so Polygon Matic, like the Polygon everybody thinks of, has just announced that they are also going to launch their first ZK EVM, the ZK-L2. Okay, it's going to be fully open source. Okay, and then here's all the details for that. So you've got ZK Sync, you've got Polygon Matic, okay, and then you've got another, okay, which is Scroll. It's probably one that y'all have maybe heard of less, but Scroll is also another native ZK EVM. All right, they are also announcing their pre-alpha testnet. So a ton of announcements for ZK rollup-based scaling solutions. Now, let me talk about why this is such a big deal and why we're, my opinion, at this inflection point for the entire Ethereum ecosystem. So again, the merge is a huge deal, okay, because the merge is going to make Ethereum proof of stake. All right, it's gonna be a huge part. It's gonna be deflationary after that. You can stake it on the network to earn yield. It's going to make it really attractive asset for a lot of people, all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, you have to think about the technological use cases and the demand and usability of Ethereum. And so ZK rollup-based technology is huge because there's different types of layer 2 scaling solutions, right? There's optimistic rollups, which I talked about, like Arbitrum Optimism, which have gotten a lot of demand, partly because it's been easier to sort of bootstrap those technologies and get user adoption. Because of the implementation, okay? So first of all, there are certain trade-offs that each layer 2 scaling solution makes, whether it's an optimistic rollup or a ZK-based, zero-knowledge-based rollup, okay? So optimistic rollups, one of the drawbacks is like you have more trust assumptions involved. The whole idea of an optimistic rollup is you assume certain validity of a transaction, and then basically you treat that optimistically, and you have a validator or sequence or whatever you want to call it, basically an extra computer involved. And one of the drawbacks to the user is that sometimes the user has to wait like up to 7 days to withdraw their funds. Okay, so you can bypass that with like bridges and stuff like that. But here's the big benefit of like zero knowledge based scaling solutions is there's way less trust assumptions involved, and you can prove things with cryptography. Okay, so that's what the whole idea of like zero knowledge rollups are. So if you want to get deeper than that, I'll try not to get too deep in the woods right now, but basically zero knowledge cryptography, how it works is you don't have to understand you don't have to know the answer to everything. You just have to know that it's valid. Okay, that's the whole idea. Is like a zero knowledge proof essentially is like if you're to do where the classic example is like a Where's Waldo puzzle. If you put a Where's Waldo puzzle on there, if you ask me to find Waldo in that picture, then all I have to do is show you a picture of Waldo. And that proves that I found Waldo, but I never actually revealed Waldo's location. Like if you took the entire picture and I just gave you a little snapshot of a little tiny cropped image, I can prove to you that I found Waldo, but I never told you where he is. That's the idea of like a zero knowledge proof. I proved that I could do something, but I never told you what the exact information is. So when you do that with scaling, basically what you're doing is you can prove that information is valid, and then basically take that, and then that's a smaller amount of information than the actual information itself, and that's how you can batch that up and roll it up and then make scaling happen, because that's what scaling is that's one approach to scaling is fitting less data in the same amount of space. If you're going to scale, you have to have more space or put less stuff in it or more time, all that type of stuff, right? That's how you scale blockchain. So anyways, that's kind of deep off into the weeds, but with ZK rollups, one of the limitations for a lot of these is that we haven't had EVM compatible ZK rollups yet. And now we're seeing huge announcements for EVM compatible ZK rollups. So what does that mean? Why it's important? There's a lot of crazy jargon here. But one of the reasons that things like Optimism and Arbitrum have been so successful and been able to, get off the ground so fast is because if you can write programs in Solidity for the EVM on the main Ethereum blockchain, it's the Ethereum virtual machine that the Ethereum world computer runs, then you can just use the exact same programming language and the exact same skill set, and then just take your app and put it onto a layer 2, like optimistic rollups. Now with ZK rollups, you get all these advantages of ZK based cryptography and these scaling solutions, but like out of the gate, a lot of these were not necessarily going to be EVM compatible out of the box. So it's like, well, you got a lot of friction, okay? You got a lot of friction to overcome to bootstrap an ecosystem that developers have to learn like new technology and new skills, okay? So, you see this type of thing like in web development all the time, where it's like, oh, we want to be able to do X with JavaScript. Like, don't forget, like JavaScript just came out, when it first came out, it was like runs only in your browser. Like that's all you could do with it. And then we had things like Node.js come out where you could run JavaScript like on your computer or on a server, right? Backends. It totally opened up the world, what you could do with the same programming language. And then, that made developers a lot happier because they don't have to know as many programming languages. And if you knew one language, you could do a lot of things with it. It's a similar type of thing. Not the exact same, but what's showing you is basically that like if you start supporting a really popular programming language, you can create new stuff really fast and get new ecosystems, and developers are key to blockchain adoption. And that's why, that's why basically the zero knowledge proof rollups, I keep saying it wrong, ZK rollups that are EVM compatible are a huge deal. And we're seeing a massive announcement of 3 different ones, basically all on the same day. Okay, this is also not an accident. And it's also not an accident we're seeing this high correlation to, uptrend and the ETH price following this. And you can say, well, the ETH price is going up because everything else is. But it's not. Look at the amount of gain that ETH made in 7 days. Over a 50% gain in 7 days. It's outpaced pretty much everything else in the marketplace relative. It's basically outperforming everything else in the marketplace, and that's not an accident. And basically like in the top 50, top 100, there may be a few counterexamples there, but generally speaking, it's outperformed. So that's definitely not an accident. So, things are changing for the better for the Ethereum space. You know, like I was saying, the merge is huge. The fact that we have a calendar date set for this, the fact that we have these new scaling solutions coming out, which have a ton of promise. Okay, and some of them are going to be live, pretty shortly after the merge. Some of them are probably, we have layer 2 scaling solutions live now. So the whole point is, we're going to have this fast, scalable proof of stake Ethereum like this year. Okay. Like this year, like it's here, it's happening. So now it's going to take time for some of these layer 2s to actually, flourish, to have these, these ecosystems with a ton of apps and users. But like, we're going to hit a huge inflection point for what you can actually do with the Ethereum space. And there's so many people who are just like asleep and not even aware that this is a thing. Like the fact that you're watching this video right now is like you're early, like you're way ahead of the curve. And I've been talking for months now, like, as crypto prices have fallen and it's caused a lot of people to like check out of the space. It's a huge mistake because I know it's tempting to just like not want to pay attention to crypto when prices are going down because like maybe it gives you anxiety or whatever. Trust me, I get it. I have to do it every single day. I can't help but look at the crypto prices, but missing out on the big technological innovations is a huge opportunity cost. So now is definitely not the time to check out. Like now is time to double down and be developing yourself, watching the space for opportunities. At the end of the day, like my whole goal is to give you all the skills to take advantage of all this technology. And, that's where the real opportunity is. And part of it is knowing this technology and where it's headed and what you can do with it. And then, definitely having an understanding of how to do this with as a developer, how to use some of these layer 2 scaling solutions is going to be pretty instrumental for your value in the marketplace. And the good news is, if you can do the exact skills teach you on this channel and some of the blockchain bootcamp, all that type of stuff, then you should be able to like write apps for this stuff. Okay, this is huge. This is where a lot of the stuff's going. It's where a lot of demand is. So ETH hit 2,000 or 200 first. I would say my off the record prediction would be 2,000. Of course, if something terrible ever happens, somebody's gonna come back and like clip this video and say, "Oh, look, I told you so." I don't think it's gonna happen. Charts University. Yeah, I'm not big on the charts. Let's see here. So let's actually look like let's actually look at CK University. I like it. So what's the EVM? The EVM is the Ethereum virtual machine. So the Ethereum virtual machine, what is that? Basically, it's if you're running a blockchain is a peer-to-peer node network of nodes that all talk to one another. The nodes are just computers. It's like if you're on Bitcoin, you have the miners. Well, the miners are just the computers that run the network. I know you can different blockchains. You can there's different types of nodes. I get that, but for simple sake, like that's what the computers are. And so with Ethereum, you have Ethereum now as proof of work. They also have miners, right? I mean, you can run on like client. You don't have to be a mining node. I get that. But just for a simple example, those are the computers that run it. And then when we do proof of stake, validators will be the computers that also run the network. So in order to participate in that, you have to run a computer, okay? And it could be, a laptop. It could be a headless server, right? Doesn't matter. But it has to run a process on that computer that implements the software for the blockchain itself. Okay, so it's called your client, your validator client. So that's gonna look like this command line interface type thing. That's the software. You might have heard of like Geth. That's like the Go implementation of Ethereum. But what that does is everybody who's running that software collectively, runs that computer, and all those computers collectively make up the execution environment for Ethereum, and that's what the Ethereum virtual machine is. So you think about like a virtual machine. You might have seen this where, let's say, like a really common example of like a virtual machine people understand is like, let's say you have a Mac computer and you want to play a game on Windows. You don't have the Windows operating system on your computer. Sometimes people like dual boot their system, or they'll do this thing that's called a virtual machine, where they'll like install a program inside their Mac that lets them have a separate computer. It's a pretend computer basically, and they can install Windows on that so they can like play games. That's what a virtual machine is. It's a virtual computer, a virtual machine inside their own computer that lets them, act like and behave like a machine. That's why it's virtual. So, the Ethereum virtual machine is basically taking all the computers collectively together to create a virtual computer, a virtual execution environment for smart contracts. And that's basically building blocks of blockchain applications. That's the back end. And so that's what collectively creates the EVM, or the Ethereum virtual machine. And the human readable source code that gets compiled down into the bytecode that gets run on the Ethereum virtual machine is, written in Solidity primarily. And so that's why you see like EVM compatibility is a big deal. So if you can like write Solidity, that means you can put your smart contracts on that particular network. Like Binance Smart Chain is EVM compatible. So if you can write code for Ethereum, you can write for Binance Smart Chain. EVM compatibility is a big deal for getting ecosystems off the ground quickly. And that's why these zero knowledge based scaling solutions, making them EVM compatible is a big deal, because that means you don't have to learn new stuff, and apps can basically just be copied and pasted with minimal changes to create new ecosystems really fast. So let's actually take a quick look on the crypto markets here. So, Bitcoin, man, we're moving strong. Bitcoin's back about $24,000. Ethereum is hovering around $1,600. We definitely broke above it several times this morning. We'll probably, I would imagine we probably reclaim that with the amount of momentum that we're seeing here. Of course, don't quote me on that. It's not financial advice. I don't try to really call too many short-term moves on this channel, if you all know that, if you've been watching these videos. But, so, yesterday we talked about sort of the possibility that the real question on everybody's mind is the bottom in, or what we're seeing right now, is it a relief rally in crypto? Just a bear market rally that could ultimately, turn back around and then continue the bear trend. So let's take a look at some of that, entertain some possibilities, because both of those perspectives are hotly debated right now. I see a lot of people saying, hey, the bottom's in. A lot of people are saying like, hey, this is just a rally, like, which is going to go lower, bro. So we'll talk about that. So basically, we're seeing Bitcoin get back above this 200-week moving average, which is pretty significant in terms of other people, what they look at in terms of TA. Again, I'm not a big technical analysis guy, but it is an important level for people who really watch this stuff, okay, based on what they're going to do, with their position, all type of stuff, and how they confirm new trends. So at the very least, you can see that we've broken above this resistance. All right, we've been kind of in this range for a long time, so that's significant in of itself. The fact that we got above this long-term moving average. Now, what would it take for this to actually be a convincing trend reversal? Well, I think a good first step is definitely getting above this, and then having some time where we they fall in price and hold this actually as support to see a trend start to form rather than just like, making a $10,000 candle up to $30,000. I don't know how sustainable that's going to be, but it could happen. But that would be a first step. Another step would essentially be getting up to that, maybe 28, like the next sort of level that looks like for Bitcoin is to kind of get up in this range, like close to 30K, and then start to actually, maybe do some consolidation or holding some support in this area before we get too excited. Okay, those are some of the kind of the next levels that I would personally be looking at to confirm some sort of trend reversal. Now, of course, what's happening in the crypto space is not necessarily just isolated to crypto. There's multiple factors. Okay, what's been happening in the stock market is also a huge factor, is because they're influenced by the common factor, which is the economy. And basically what's, been going on in central banks, basically, change in monetary policy, all that type of stuff. So we don't want to treat crypto in isolation. So, we can definitely look at what's happening with the stock market hold on a second here. Trying to pull up the NASDAQ chart here. Basically see what's happening in the stock market to, kind of have a separate view. So, basically if the stock market looks like it was be forming a bottom, then that would be really good for the crypto space as well. So that's something we're going to be keeping our eye on. Now, that being said, crypto has had its own share of specific issues in addition to this, right? We've seen some of the major funds blow up, some insolvency issues, like problems with centralized lending services, all this type of stuff that, in my opinion, has, really exacerbated some of the downward sell pressure on this, because, you've had people that have had to sell, force sellers to pay back massive outstanding, debts in crypto. That puts a lot of sell pressure on the market, a lot of fear, panic. Crypto's higher risk, so it has its own set of inherent, challenges here during, fierce economic times, or scary economic times, just to say. So some of that stuff is for that reason, like, crypto can make up a lot more ground to sort of get back to a maybe baseline of like we could still be in a very long period of recovery, but still be significantly undervalued right now. Like, we still could get back up to these 30K levels. Man, that's still less. That's still over a 50% drawdown from the all-time high, even for 30K. Because, like, you think about the recency bias I was talking about earlier, like, everybody would have been freaked out at a 30K Bitcoin, just 9 months ago. So the fact that we're even getting excited about a 30K Bitcoin is kind of crazy. But that would be sort of the next level that we could get to. I'm not trying to call any bottoms in real time. I've been talking about for about a month on this channel that there's been a lot of bottom signals in sight. And we talked about yesterday how there's a lot of perspective that, hey, you got to be careful. This could just be a relief rally, but more specifically, a bear market rally, which essentially just means it's going to rally and go back down and make a new low, that we're still in a bear trend. So I think the truth could be somewhere between those two things, where this could be a relief rally, but we could go back down and revisit our prior price levels or about that without making new lows. That's also a possibility. So as always, it's really hard to tell, but those are definitely some of the key levels that I'm watching out for. So with Ethereum, though, if Bitcoin is eyeing, that sort of 30K range, if we could get back up there, we could see ETH getting back into that $2,000 plus range per coin. I mean, just based on the momentum and the trend that we see here. Now, of course, not financial advice, but anybody to be, averaging in the maximum point of opportunity, of course, is always when everybody else is too scared to buy it. Right now, we got to be really careful before we get too confident about what's going to happen next with the price. But that being said, things are changing for the ETH space. The technology has just leapt forward, in my opinion, or is about to leap forward in a big way because of the big stuff that's coming in the pike with the ETH 2.0 merge event in September, and then also some of these new scaling solutions that are coming out. That's kind of how technology works. It's sort of like a really slow, and then boom, it just sort of like leaps forward all at the same time. So that's kind of how crypto works, how all tech works, and that's why you need to pay attention right now, because there's a lot of people who are going to check out and miss this stuff, and whenever they do that, they miss the maximum point of opportunity. So that's, I got to go ahead and get split for today, but that's all I've got. As always, smash the like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. The episode videos out, so we're going to learn about blockchain. Of course, today is the last day during the Blockchain Bootcamp 2.0 launch event. So if you've been waiting around on this, there is not much time left. All right. So if you're trying to become an in-demand blockchain developer in 2022, the Blockchain Bootcamp is the best way to do that. So make sure you hold your spot with the link down below. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching.